Okay, so that's how I think I left it last time. And my piece, I've started to form it. I've got it pretty close. Got a couple angles and kicks, and if I get this tucked up all the way here, it should come just to the top of those circles that I was trying to cover. And give me a good place to weld there. I got a good place to weld all along here. If I bend that and form it a little more, and I'm going to have to clean that up a little farther past where I thought I was going to. Clean it up there. When I mean clean it up, I mean get it down to metal. And then it didn't quite make it all the way to cover that hole, but it's close. And this one, if I keep it over to the left, it'll cover that one too. So I think that piece is coming together very well. Okay, I washed it all down and got it semi-dry. I'm going to put the piece in there, and then I'm going to go around it with a paint marker. Then around the edges to define, and then I'm going to treat all this metal in here, and all the metal that I'm not, once I put the pan down, that it's covering. That way it won't rust again, especially because I got a fresh cut on there. It's bare metal. And I'll put some Por 15 paint on there. It's real good for sealing things up really nice. Okay, so I've got the lines all the way around. I use the paint marker. I don't want to go I want to make sure everything under that is covered. It may go down lower, and that's fine because I can cover that afterwards, but that's basically the line I'm going to follow. So I can coat anything under that now. Have to cover it. Have to do it now, and then the other stuff can go later. Coat all the insides of this frame rail, everything I can see here, everything. So first I use the Por 15 cleaner degreaser. Follow the instructions on that one. Dry time, rinse, then you put Por 15 metal prep, dry time, rinse, and now I am air drying with the help of a fan, and I just use the garden leaf blower, because if you put the Por 15 on anything wet at all, good luck to you. Alright, I got the coating of Por 15 on. I accidentally went up too high there. I forgot where my line was, but when I got over here I started correcting. So I might have to do a little grinding there before I can get a good weld on something. Put it all in the hole there. Got this whole channel real nice. Just gotta wait till it dries, then give it, it says it takes at least 2 coats. Got you over here on the passenger side. I was just poking around a little bit. I got a hole there. All this for sure. This is really the only real hole right now, but it's probably that far already. I may just do half this pan. I'm going to take some of this up because this comes up easy just to look. But from the bottom, it does not look bad, but then the bottom is like this heavy rubber coating. So you might not see all the rust. But I may not do this whole floor pan. I just got to let this kind of dictate how far we go here. It's really not that much to weld a big pan versus a small pan, so it's not like you're really saving anything. This is actually made of several panels. If you can see, this one straddles the middle, then there's another one, and then there's a seam here. That's just the pan for the floor versus the structure. Several panels come together. And if I don't have to tear into like these joints, I might not. That metal there is like new. Probably going to leave some of that. Probably going to not do the full pan on this side. Yeah, I think on this side I'm going to maybe come along something like this. That's good metal yet. And then I'm going to cut out this and this only. The rest of this is, it's still structural, so let's leave that alone. Any kind of structure you can get on a car like this, you know, the underneath is sorry looking too. There's other panels underneath that could use a lot more, could use work more than this. So I'm just going to do a minimum job here on the passenger side, and then if I was going to expend any more energy, I would do it on panels that really matter rather than a floor pan. It matters too, but all of it is tied into something else. But there's worse stuff on this car. If I was to look at this versus something else I could fix, you got to pick your battles. Probably the support structures under here somewhere. I know there's no more fuel lines. Already got those out of the way, shall we say. Trying to get over near that support, because what would be nice is lay the new half on one half of that channel and let the old half stay where it was. Just can't really feel if I'm right up against it. There it is. Yeah, so it's got a similar channel to the other side. Actually, I think I'm cutting the flange off. Is there two pieces there? Yep. Whoops. That's what you get when you put a brand new blade on there. Cut so well, you're cutting two pieces. Didn't mean to do that. I should be, let me get this off. I should be over about another half inch. Not really much holding that anymore, was there? There we go. I got it opened up pretty much like I want it. Cut an L shape there. Main part goes there. Weld it into here. That way I got good support over that channel that's in the floor there. This side is doing much better than the other side. It's much more firm. At least it looks like it is. So we'll be good. I'm gonna hit it with the heavy wire wheel. Try to knock some of this rust off. Got all the floor pan cleaned up. Got the wire wheel and the flap disc all the way around. Wire wheeled the remaining pan. I'm treating that with the metal, the degreaser cleaner is already on. The metal prep is on there now. That's wet. Then I got to rinse that. Then I got to let it fully dry. They call it bone dry. They want it before you put it on the pour 15. So I'm going to put the pour 15 on some of that now, except where I have to weld. And also I'll put it up here. I didn't do that on the other side, but I could have, just to get a little further. Maybe not, but I'll get on the sides here probably and start making a piece of metal for this one. Start fitting and cutting and measuring. Alright, I've got plate number 2 fit. I just had to hit it a little to bend that corner up. Bend that corner up. You can see the hit marks on the plastic that's on the metal. I've traced around it like I did last time, and then I'm going to paint the black pour 15 on the non-weld areas to get some started on that. Back out here another day, and I'm going to take and put the piece on there, and from the bottom mark where the center support is so I can drill some holes, and then I'm going to be able to weld through those holes and weld the pieces together. Got my lines all laid out there. I'm just going to kind of aim for the center because there's going to be some shifting back and forth, and then those should give me a place to mark. Then I'll have to grind the paint that I put on the I'll have to mark through this sheet onto that metal, and then grind away the paint that I put on the support that goes from front to back. That way it'll get me a much better weld. Okay, so I just drilled a series of holes every 3-4 inches, whatever, it doesn't matter. I kind of staggered them so they're not right across from each other on that cross member. Didn't want to weaken anything. It should strengthen right back up if you weld on it with the weld metal. And then these, I just put some self-tapping screws there. Put one here to kind of suck it down to the floor, because everything on a floor is kind of wavy. Put one over there in the corner just off the edge, and then another one over here just to kind of hold it, and that's going to let me mark everything where I want to mark it. And then what I'm going to do, because everything moved since I didn't want to put the paint where the weld was going to go, I have to remark everything now, because I'm just going to go along the edge with the rest. All the edges, all the way around. Probably stitch weld, just do a little bit, 4 inches over, do a little bit more. Probably won't do the continuous weld. And that's how this one's going to go. So that kind of gets it set where I need to go. I'm going to mark it with my white marker all the way around. Won't have to mark this side, that's pretty obvious. And that's getting this one closer to prepped for welding day. Just got done going around all the edges. I just did the whole tops of those. I was just going to try to mark them and just get the area de-painted that I wanted to do, but I'm going to put on some weld through primer, and that'll be better than nothing for coating. And I did all the edges. Take you around the other side. This piece I did just a couple holes because I only have a little bit of the flange showing. This part will just go right on top, and again just ground around where it's going to meet, so I don't have a bunch of paint in the weld. Now I'm going to use some weld through primer. It's better than nothing for corrosion protection for those areas underneath where I won't be able to paint, and won't be able to get to once I overlap those panels. So I think it only really works where the weld heats up. I don't know if it really does any corrosion protection beyond that, but it'll also help the welds from not it'll protect the metal till I get to weld it, and then it'll protect the welds a little bit more. Alright, I got all the weld through primer. It's kind of gray. My spray can didn't work too good anymore. It's kind of old, I guess, but got some coverage. Not perfect, but good enough. Alright, got set up. Got my little weenie welder. I'm using that bolt, that screw that I put through the floor as a welding clamp, welding ground. Got everything pretty much set up how I want it. Now I'm just going to start with some of the center holes to get me oriented and see if that's going to work. And then I'll go to the edges. Okay, I didn't wire brush them or grind them or anything, but let's look at what we got. So there's the row of ones I did into the frame. Here's where I got into the side. Just tried to tie it in everywhere that was real metal. Missed a little piece there when I was cutting. I shouldn't have cut that piece out, but whatever. Got along the side and along the seat rail. Tied it in to the flange on the bottom real good, so we're in great shape here. Now for the passenger side. Just doing a final fit here before I tack anything, so I just drew out here so I can remember when I'm welding on top how that structure looks down there, because I want to tie into this frame which goes up to the suspension member, this which is the flange for that frame thing, and then I'm going to be tying in, of course, here, and of course directly into the cross member, you know, all the pieces. But I want to make sure that I get into here, because that really helps structure the car stronger. Every tie-in you can make with some structural member. So I just drew it out in paint marker, approximately where that is. Then when I'm welding, I could just burn through. I could just start welding on top, burn through both. Alright, just got the passenger side done. I was going to finish a couple more of these with some more weld. I kind of dug a hole in there a little bit, but I ran out of wire. So I guess I'm done. That's a good sign to tell me I'm done. Just went around and tied it all in, all the way around. There's a view of our floor pans. A little sturdier than before, now that everything's tied in, and I'm just going to either, because this is wire feed type, it leaves a lot of brown residue there, a lot of smoky, ashy, whatever. I am going to clean that up with a wire wheel, either the power wire wheel or just a hand brush. And then I will paint everything with the Pour 15. Only reason I have to paint it is I want to protect the welds themselves, because they are mixed regular steel and stainless steel. It shouldn't rust fast, but anytime you have bare metal, it has a chance to rust, so let's make it not bare metal by coating it with paint. So this video turned out to be more of a slideshow, more of what's being done rather than how to do it, and that's fine, because this one was a job I have to get done on a time frame, so that's the way this one had to go. But anyway, you got that Pour 15, painted everything, what's going to be under the seat. The seat's just sitting in there, of course, and everything is just a matter of waiting for it to dry. I got the Pour 15 down on the driver's side, take you around the passenger side, same over here. Did all underneath there, all underneath what's underneath the seat, did all the front part, and we're ready to go. Okay, that paint's dry for 24 hours or so. Tones out real nice, nice gloss finish on there. Not that that's necessary, but now I'm going to go with some seam sealer along all the seams and seal that all up. What I'm using, again, made by Pour 15, I like that brand. It's called Patch Filler and Seam Sealer Black, so it'll match perfect. Alright, well you can't see much, so you're going to have to take my word. I got the sealant all the way around. And then just for some sound deadening and a little bit of heat reduction, because they had that rubberized stuff on there, that heavy rubber that I was able to chip off, I'm going to put on some, this stuff is Dynamat Extreme. Any kind will work. All it is just a little bit of tar and a little bit of silver to reflect the heat. And it just kind of deadens the road noise a little bit. So I'm just going to put down some of this. You don't have to cover 100% of it, but I'm going to cover the areas where there's still holes, of course, and then some more. So when putting this stuff down, all it is it's its own adhesive. It's basically just a roll of tar, and then the silver on the top facing up, that'll be you know, it's like a heat barrier. But cut it before you put it down. Then you could just peel and stick, and you don't end up re-sticking it 10 times and getting it all over you. Alright, I got you in the shot pretty good there. So I've got the back peeled off of this. I'm just going to put it up all the way. Cover those holes that are still remaining. And it's so thin, it just totally conforms right to what you need. No problems. I'm going to make sure this one goes low enough so I can get my seatbelt bolt in that without hesitation. And other than that, there's a special roller you can put it down with. What's it going to do? Fly up out of here? I don't know. Don't know why you'd go that far with it. That's really all that's necessary. I'm going to put another piece over there just because I have enough for today. Get the backing pulled off of that. I was almost successful. There we go. Make it conform to all the little corners. Perfect. That way we got at least a little bit of thermal insulation from the catalytic converter and all that stuff that resides underneath there. And the hot stuff keeps the hot hot, cold cold. Helps a little bit, and it'll deaden the sound a little bit. On the other side now. I'm going to go all the way up and cover these holes. I don't think it's necessary for those to, for air or anything else. I think that's just the way the structure was made. Put this right underneath, then that other stuff can flip down on top of it. Now I'm down to using up my scraps. All my cut-offs. I don't think the car will know the difference. Beautiful. And because I have a couple little scraps still remaining and no real need for them on any other project, I'm going to put some here. This is already coated with the factory stuff still. Still coated, not already. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I think I got one little piece left. Yep. Got just a little cut off here. Put that in there. Just overlap. What's the difference? Good. Much better. So regular viewers of this channel will tell you that I'm a little bit of a stickler on putting things back the way the factory did, because they do things in a way that makes them not get into trouble. For example, there is a little indentation in the middle there, and that's where that wire crosses. There's a little indentation here. That's where that goes. You can see this one, that used to sit right there. Put them exactly how the factory had them. This stuff here was either glued, yeah, it's double sticky tape to the side here, not in the middle where your feet go and botch them all up, and just, you know, everything has a place. It wants to go back right how it was. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to use glue, because double sticky tape probably isn't going to hold very well on the surface I'm dealing with here, but I'm going to put it back as close to the way, exactly where they ran them as possible. And again, staying away from that seat bolt. That's where that one goes. Alright, so here's our final project. I got that hammer holding that glue, because this glue is the kind that just kind of keeps oozing. Got the wires all in place. Everything's where it should be. And with some additional reassembly, I hereby declare this floor Wildwood certified. Thanks for watching.